Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bienvenue tout le monde and welcome to the launch of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup, a celebration not only of the late Dr. Henry Charles, but also of youth development and sports and the role that sports plays in positive youth development. As we come together to launch not just locally, but with our fellow collaborators internationally in the Commonwealth, from the UK to Zambia, Trinidad and Tobago and beyond, we stand for a word of prayer which will be led by Father Ignatius Setut. Please stand for prayer.
Thank you very much, Madam Mistress of Ceremonies, Madam Rice Joseph. There is one thing I ask of the Lord, to live in the house of the Lord, to savor the sweetness of the Lord, to behold his temple. God, you are my God. I pine for you. My heart thirsts for you. My body longs for you. As a land parched, dreary, and waterless, thus I have gazed on you in the sanctuary, seen your power and your glory. O Lord, we give you thanks and we give you praise. We thank you for the person of Dr. Henry Charles and for the launching of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup 2024. We thank you for the contribution, the stature of this great and wonderful individual. We pray that we may join ourselves in union with his spouse, Dr. Marjorie Jameson Charles, to continue to keep his legacy alive and all the contributions that he has made to Saint Lucia, to the Caribbean, and to the entire world. Bless our proceedings here today, O God, that all would go well for the honor and glory of your name. We pray that our young people who are involved, in particular in this Commonwealth Cup, that they may always aspire to take a page from Dr. Henry Charles. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Amen. We remain standing for the national anthems of Saint Lucia and the United Kingdom.
Lord.
Once again, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the official launch of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup. My name is Raisa Joseph, and I will be leading you in today's auspicious occasion. As with all things, it's always important to recognize the presence of the dignitaries, officials, and individuals who have made today possible. And I would like to start by welcoming Her Excellency, Governor General Emerita, Dame Paulette Louise, Deputy Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, the Honorable Ernest Tiller, Minister of Youth Development and Sports, the Honorable Kenson Casimir, Senator Alison Zhou, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador for the Republic of China, Taiwan, His Excellency Peter Chen, Ambassador of Mexico, His Excellency Luis Manuel Lopez, Ambassador of Venezuela, Laif Ascalona, widow of the late Henry Charles, Dr. Marjorie Jameson Charles, international members of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Committee in Bromley in the United Kingdom, Zambia, and also our collaborators throughout the region, including Trinidad and Tobago, other officials, including Senior Advisor to the Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, Mr. Michael Williams, officials from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, volunteers from Volunteers Saint Lucia, Father Ignatius Setut, specially invited guests, Chairman of the Board of Governors of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, members of the Saint Lucia Football Association, friends and family of Henry Charles, our teams who are present, and if you are present, I want you to just make some noise to let the people feel the energy of the young people present with us today. Mosh United, Total Soccer Academy, Trevor Daniel Football Development Club, CT Foundations Football Club, GMC Football Club, members of the local organizing committee of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup, Sir Arthur Lewis Community College volunteers from the Department of Hospitality, our virtual audiences in St. Lucia, the Commonwealth, and the globe, welcome. Bienvenue. A round of applause for all of us who are present, watching, viewing, and supporting this engagement. We are on the cusp of a historic moment where we have seen so many phenomenal wins in sports, not just at the Olympics, but in cricket, and we see that sports is a massive force for social change. And it's only fitting that the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup should utilize sports, particularly football, as a language for holistic and positive youth development. But to assist us in properly contextualizing why this moment is important, it is my pleasure to deliver brief remarks, Minister with responsibility for youth development and sports, Honorable Kenson Casimir.
Dame Paulette Louise, Senator, Senator Zhou, ambassadors, well-wishers, good morning. I'm thrilled to be here today because we recently celebrated a few giants in the development of sports in St. Lucia. We celebrated Julian Alfred for her wonderful performance at the Olympic Games in a big way. We celebrated the St. Lucia Kings and specifically Johnson Charles on his amazing performance in the sport of cricket. And for those of you who don't know, last night, our men in the football team, they defeated St. Martin 2-1 right here in Beausejour, and we celebrate them. And as the Minister of Youth Development and Sport, it is very important that this generation and future generations celebrate the likes of a Henry Charles. Henry Charles was an individual that when I became Minister of Sport, sat down with me and explained to me the legacy that this government has, the potential to really transform youth and sports development in this nation. The encouragement that I got from him to really press on and get things going in Saint Lucia and in the region is something that I will never forget. And of course, as the Minister of Youth Development and Sport, I would like those who do not know to know that his wife, Mrs. Charles, really pressed on to ensure that we continued our work on our youth policy. And I would like all of us to acknowledge her for carrying on that mantle. And I feel very, very confident that very, very soon we will be presenting it to the Cabinet of Ministers and, of course, to the rest of Saint Lucia, long overdue. And so on behalf of the government of Saint Lucia, on behalf of the best constituency in all of this land that we sit in right now, I didn't get a clap for saying that. On behalf of our young talent that will be on display today, inclusive of the females and the other individuals that will participate in this activity, I would like to grant each and every one of you a very, very special welcome. Enjoy the activities. Thank you.
We thank Minister Casimir and the representative for this constituency for this very exciting and engaging welcome as we begin our program. We now shift to engage in the fact that today's launch is not just local, but international. And there are varied messages from the parts of the globe that Dr. Henry Charles would have touched by his work in positive youth development, in policy development, and in advancing the lives of many people. And we now take in a series of video messages, beginning with a message from Lane Robinson of the Commonwealth.
Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests, and especially young people of the Commonwealth, I'm very happy today as we are launching the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup, because we gather not just to celebrate the power of sport, but to honor the enduring legacy of Henry Charles, our friend and co-chair of the Year of Youth Advisory Committee at the time of his passing. Henry stood beside us at the very beginning of this Year of Youth journey, and his tireless effort has helped to shape much of what we have achieved. Sadly, he has passed, leaving behind a profound legacy as a steward of youth work in the Commonwealth. You see, Henry was not just a leader, he was a visionary. At the start of the Year of Youth process, he set a powerful tone of what was to come. Together with leaders all across the Commonwealth, he worked hard to ensure that young people would not just be heard, but be truly empowered. As we reflect on his work, it is clear that the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup will stand as a lasting symbol of his vision, a project birthed from the Year of Youth process that will continue to inspire, unite, and impact young people for generations to come. As we near the end of the Year of Youth, we can proudly say that we have accomplished much of what we had set out to do. From grassroots events in sports, the arts, leadership summits, tree planting, policy reforms, you name it, the Year of Youth has been an overwhelming success. But perhaps the greatest achievement has been the sense of unity and empowerment it has fostered. The launch of the Cup today is more than just a sporting event. It's a part of the legacy Henry envisioned, a legacy where young people are empowered to take action and to lead. You see, every ball kicked, every goal scored, every victory celebrated, and every loss endured on the fields embodied the core principles that Henry Charles believed and championed throughout his life. For Henry, sport was not just a competition, it was a metaphor for youth work and for leadership and for life. So every kick represents the efforts and resilience and the push that young people have through the challenges of life. Every goal, whether scored or missed, is a reflection of the ambitions and drive that young people have and what they hold and they hope to achieve in their dreams. Every victory teaches us the value of teamwork and unity, while a loss tells us that we need to be humble and to persevere, reminding us that setbacks are a part of the journey. Henry always saw these lessons as integral for empowering young people, helping them to grow as leaders who are transparent, inclusive, driven, and faithful to the values of the Commonwealth. Through this cup, we honor Henry's vision and ensure that these principles continue to guide young people all throughout the Commonwealth for years to come. So on behalf of the Commonwealth family and the staff of the CYP, we are incredibly proud to be associated with this initiative. We believe Henry would have been deeply moved to see this vision come to life. Because as Nelson Mandela once said, sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. So today, as we come together with sport, we're not just playing a game. We're building bridges. We're strengthening communities. We're carrying forward the visions and the values that Henry and many others have championed so passionately. I want to end by thanking Robin Lockhart and Henry's dear wife Marjorie and the government and all our partners in Saint Lucia and all across the Commonwealth for turning this vision into a reality. Henry would be proud, and we too are proud to see this remarkable initiative take flight. Let me close with another from Nelson Mandela's quote. He says, "A vision without action is a dream. Action without vision is merely passing time. Vision with action can change the world." Today we are changing the world, and I thank you on behalf of the Commonwealth family for bringing this vision to life. God bless.
We thank Mr. Robinson of the Commonwealth for that very fitting message and for emphasizing the fact that Henry Charles was a man of action, and his legacy is seen by the various messages that have been sent in. And we now prepare to listen to remarks from the Honorable Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis, Minister of Sports and Community Development in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, where Dr. Charles would have worked, lectured, researched, and been a key figure in mobilizing youth development for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly their youth council and policies.
Hello everyone, my name is Shamfa Ashaki Cudjoe-Lewis. I am the Minister of Sport and Community Development for the government of Trinidad and Tobago. It's a real pleasure and privilege for me to join with the Caribbean community and the rest of the Commonwealth as we celebrate the life, times and the legacy of this great giant, Dr. Henry Charles. I've had the privilege of knowing and working with Dr. Charles for many years. He's known to us in the Caribbean as the godfather of youth development. I met Dr. Charles over 20 years ago when I entered the youth development arena as a Vice President of the Tobago Youth Council. I then moved on to being Commonwealth part of the Commonwealth Youth Program and the CARICOM Youth Ambassador. And I must say that Dr. Charles has been a guiding light throughout my entire journey in youth development, and now I must say in national development and as a leader in the Caribbean, from helping young people to develop their different youth councils to training and capacity building for youth throughout the region and assisting in developing our youth policies. He was our go-to guy to call for just about any and everything. So his passing has been a huge loss to us in the Caribbean, the Commonwealth, and I want to say the youth movement all across the world. When I was Minister of Youth in Trinidad and Tobago a couple of years ago, and we were working on revising our youth policy, we had the privilege of working more closely with Dr. Charles and helping us every step along the way to shape and to form and even to develop plans to implement our youth policy. So this has been a big loss for us. So to see the Commonwealth Youth Program and the Commonwealth family celebrate this giant, celebrate Dr. Charles in such a wonderful way by doing a program that he would have been so happy to be a part of, and utilizing sport as a driver, as a tool for youth development. It is really a fulfilling and rewarding experience to have to be able to extend remarks and to be a part of this journey with you. The Football Cup. Football has a way of bringing people together. It's everybody's sport. Whether you play or you're a bandwagonist like me, it's all about bringing people together. It's about fun. It's about family. I think it is one of the biggest drivers of unity and peace and cooperation among young people in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, and I must say even the world by extension. So I think there's no better sport to use as it relates to doing a cup or doing an activity to bring young people together and to celebrate the life and times of Dr. Charles, because Dr. Charles had been there for everyone, no matter your walk of life, no matter your experience, no matter what part of the Caribbean or the Commonwealth you're from. So today, I salute the Commonwealth Youth Program. I salute all the stakeholders from far and wide who decided to get together so quickly to make sure to bring this idea to fruition and to make sure that his legacy lives on. There is nobody, absolutely nobody, who could ever fill the shoes of Dr. Charles, but we can try our very best to depart to others the knowledge which he has equipped us with, and to utilize all the strategies that we have learned through him for the greater good of youth development, for world peace, and for strengthening our communities, the Caribbean, the Commonwealth, and the world by extension, from strength to strength, so that we can be who we want to be and just extend to youth all over the world empowerment and excellence. So to all of you at the Commonwealth Youth Program and the Commonwealth Secretariat, thank you, God bless you, and I wish you every success.
We thank Minister Cujo Lewis for these very poignant remarks. And at this time, I want to present to us virtually Mr. Robin Lockhart, which will provide an outline of this program. What will the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup aim to achieve? What does this program seek to do for youth in Saint Lucia? Very often when someone passes, we think only of loss, but this HCCC, Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup, will allow for continuity in youth and social development.
So here we are, 12th of October 2024, the launch of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup. I'm Robin Lockhart. I'm the founder and director of Catalyst in Communities and the Commonwealth Ambassador for Youth Work, and I'm here at Bromley FC for the UK leg of the launch, and saying hi to all our colleagues, Marjorie, everybody in the team in the Caribbean who are doing the co-launch in Saint Lucia, and everybody out there in Zambia from Tackle Africa. Thank you all for participating so much in this beautiful, beautiful tribute to my friend, my colleague, my mentor, the late great Henry Charles. Today there's a big hole in my heart, missing him. He would have loved this tournament. He's a big football fan and obviously a big proponent of everything youth development orientated. Henry taught me so much, and I'm proud to be doing this in his honour. I'm proud to be working with the crew here at Bromley, Julian, Conscious Create, Penny, Elevate PR, and obviously everybody at Catalyst in Communities, everybody at Bromley, all the people that have contributed to this amazing event. We've got some stuff lined up today. We're hoping to link up with you guys in the Caribbean, fingers crossed. If you see this, it probably means that we didn't link up. And there is also the tournament in Zambia and Lusaka. So yeah, excellent day. We'll have some speeches, we've got some dancing, we've got some music, penalty shootouts, and of course, the football. We've got Behind the White Lines playing ex-professionals, playing some ex-coaches, and thank you to everybody at Next Gen for helping organise the football for us. It's been a pleasure and a privilege working with Ashley, working with Warren, working with Liv, everybody over here in the UK, and big love to everybody in the Caribbean too. Look forward to this taking off, look forward to the next steps when we widen this out to the UK and make it Commonwealth wide. Enjoy your day, everybody. Peace.
Thank you, Robin, for these remarks. So they're celebrating in the UK while we're celebrating in Saint Lucia as well, so this is a tremendous occasion. We return to the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, where Dr. Charles would have done tremendous work, to receive remarks from the Honorable Foster Cummings, Minister of Youth and National Service, Trinidad and Tobago.
My first interaction with Dr. Henry Charles, the youth development advocate and practitioner, occurred when he made a courtesy call to the ministry in April 2022. At that meeting, in the capacity of co-chairman of the Commonwealth Year of the Youth Advisory Committee, Dr. Charles' commitment and dedication to youth development was explicitly evident by the enthusiasm and passion with which he spoke concerning youth engagement. He elaborated on the planned activities to commemorate the 2023-2024 Year of the Youth celebrations, which were designed to engender camaraderie and a greater sense of unity amongst youth across the region. We again connected at the United Nations Economic and Social Council ECOSOC Youth Forum in 2023 at the UN headquarters in New York. His humble and affable nature stood out in the way he greeted both youth and dignitaries at this forum. His comprehensive knowledge on youth matters was apparent by the sterling contributions he made during the different sessions he attended and facilitated. Trinidad and Tobago is particularly pleased with the contributions of Dr. Henry Charles, as he played a pivotal role in shaping the youth landscape regionally and internationally. I'm truly thankful for his influence in the development of our National Youth Policy 2020-2025. The document, which was developed by Dr. Charles and a team of young professionals, involved a consultative process with youth and youth stakeholders, and resulted in a prescriptive and evidence-based policy document which coincided with the establishment of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service in Trinidad and Tobago. The policy document that Dr. Charles produced has served as a roadmap for the transformation of the youth sector in Trinidad and Tobago, ensuring that the youth agenda is adaptable to the needs and aspirations of the youth populace in the 21st century. Dr. Charles, just before his passing, was leading another important project of the ministry, which involved the re-engineering of the National Youth Council of Trinidad and Tobago, geared towards establishing a platform for the youth voice and participation in the decision-making process in our country. In Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Charles is remembered for his outstanding contribution in academia, youth work, and youth advocacy. The launch of the Dr. Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup is a fitting tribute to the work and legacy of a remarkable Commonwealth citizen who contributed immensely towards the wealth of knowledge and practice of youth work in the Commonwealth. On behalf of a grateful nation and region, I say thank you.
We thank Minister Foster Cummings. And a little closer to home, perhaps in the diaspora, we receive remarks from Consul General of Saint Lucia to Canada in Toronto, Mr. Henry Mangal, who will speak not only to the impact of Dr. Charles in shaping the lives of youth, but in a number of officials who now serve nationally and internationally.
Hooray to the Commonwealth for launching a new global sporting event, the Henry Charles Commonwealth Football Cup. Hooray to Henry Charles, in whose honor the Commonwealth Cup is named. That's all the extempo I can give you. But I want to tell you about Charlo, as we all fondly call him. He's an emblematic figure on the youth landscape of Saint Lucia, the Caribbean, the Commonwealth, and even the wider world. Charlo was one of the 7 leaders on the first executive of the Saint Lucia National Youth Council when it was formed in 1985. As public relations officer, he got the council's message out, even as the government was seeking to suppress and dismantle the NYC. It was a pleasure to see a stern and serious Charlo serving as the Dean of Discipline at NYC activities, but he could also be quite jovial at the same time. Charlo was a hands-on leader of the Commonwealth Youth Program Caribbean Center in Guyana, and from there, He gave good guidance to several Caribbean governments on matters of youth. His excellence also led to him being appointed to act as Commonwealth Youth Director. He was admired, appreciated and loved by young people, administrators and policymakers alike. Charlo was also a militant trade unionist, serving as General Secretary of the Saint Lucia Civil Service Association, which he also represented regionally and internationally. It was an honor to have him as trade union representative on the board of the National Lotteries Authority, which supports youth and sports development in Saint Lucia. His advice was always sound, and he was a solid team member in the fight to secure finance to construct the flagship Darren Sammy Cricket Ground at Beausejour, Gros Islet, Saint Lucia. Hooray for Charlo and the Henry Charles Commonwealth Football Cup 2024.
Can we say hooray for Charlo? Wonderful. We thank Mr. Mangal for that very heartfelt message and for giving us insight into another aspect of Dr. Charles, who was the quintessential Caribbean man. Ite Emekaiso, he loved the mighty chalk dust and an array of other legends. So we thank Mr. Mangal for that message. Mr. Charles' work, as we would well guess by these messages, has been quite extensive. Part of his work extended to working with the Caribbean Development Bank in helping to launch its youth policy operational strategy. At this moment, we take in a message from Michelle Small-Bartley, Program Manager for Youth Development for CARICOM.
Henry's passion for youth development was infectious. He didn't just talk about empowering youth, he lived it. He tirelessly championed their cause, lobbying for opportunities, advocating for resources, and relentlessly pushing for mechanisms that would truly support their growth and development. He understood that real change begins with creating pathways, providing access, and building a supportive system. I was fortunate enough to work alongside Henry. We sat on many committees together, and he was more of a mentor to me because any ideas or challenges that I had, he would be my sounding board. And I would easily call on him. And even if he was busy, he would make the time for me. And interestingly, Henry would come up with the most effective solution. As a program manager for youth development at the CARICOM Secretariat, he constantly encouraged me that it wasn't about just the projects that we were doing, but it was about the systems and the structures that we need to put in place to foster genuine, sustainable, positive development. Henry emphasized the importance of fostering genuine growth, for nurturing potentials and empowering young people to become agents of their own future. For me, doing this recording is difficult as Henry's loss is immeasurable. Not just for me, I'm sure, but for others who worked very closely with him. And as we move forward and to continue embracing his legacy, the upcoming launch of the Commonwealth Cup, which is being proudly named in his honor, embodies and exemplifies his unwavering commitment to youth development. It is a fitting tribute to a remarkable man whose dedication to building a brighter future for young people will continue to inspire us all. Let us honor him, honor his memory, and continue to embrace the things that he would want us to embrace by carrying the torch of positive youth development.
As we continue to honor the memory of Dr. Henry Charles, we receive messages from Mr. John Roach, Director of Youth from the Commonwealth of Dominica.
I'm John Roach, former Chief Youth Development Officer of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Dr. Henry Wallace Charles, who I affectionately call Charlo, was a gift from God to mankind. Saint Lucia can boast of having given the Caribbean and the world a wonderful soul, whom we in the youth development fraternity dubbed the godfather of youth development. Dr. Henry Wallace Charles was a friend, a mentor, and a counselor to whom I attribute my academic and professional achievements in youth development work. He was often referred to as the gentle giant by his international colleagues, as was displayed by his humility and tremendous wealth of knowledge in various spheres. During his stint with the Commonwealth Secretariat as Regional Director of the Caribbean Center and head of the Youth Division in London, Charlo engendered a new culture and approach to youth development work, which brought about the rejuvenation of several national youth councils and the transformation of national youth policies throughout the Commonwealth. Positive youth development was his mantra, as he purported to advocate for youth from an asset-based perspective and denounce tokenism. It was a privilege to be part of Henry's team on various youth development initiatives in several Commonwealth countries, such as the establishment of the Dominica Youth Business Trust and the review of Dominica's national youth policy, training of youth and social workers in achievement motivation in Guyana, Saint Lucia, and Trinidad, Youth Development Index Workshop in Jamaica, Youth Mainstreaming Strategy in Belize, serving on the Board of Advisors for the Caribbean Regional Youth Council, CRIP, youth participation, leadership, and policy conferences in London, India, and Azerbaijan, the Caribbean Development Bank's Youth Policy and Operational Strategy YPOS in Barbados, and Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting in Antigua and Barbuda, just to name a few. Henry was an ardent advocate for youth inclusion at every stage of the development and implementation process. I wholeheartedly endorse the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup initiative as a fitting recognition for Henry's selfless dedication and commitment to empowering and inspiring so many throughout the Commonwealth. And as someone who was holistically inspired by Henry, I pledge my commitment to ensure the legacy of Dr. Henry Wallace Charles is accentuated by his timely global initiative, the HCCC movement.
We thank Mr. Roach for that endorsement. And as we continue our program, it's only fitting that another fitting language of music comes in at this time, and it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Gilroy Isai Hall with a musical interlude. A round of applause for Mr. Hall.
Good morning, everyone. I really thought this extempo thing was just a joke, but it seems like I actually have to do this morning, so do bear with me. Want you? We saw Mr. Mangal try the extempo. I'm going to try to do a little better than that. Right now, everybody, this is what I wish. Want to support protocol establish. I want to tell you, yes, listen to me. Not a customer leaving home so very early, but I'm telling you, yes, before I end, the late Henry Charles was my very good friend. So when they asked me to hear, I say, oh no, I'm here to do a little piece of extempo. La la la, da bam boom bam boom, la da be ba 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 la bam boom boom boom, ska la 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 ba 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 ba, de ba boom 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 boom. Well, I'm telling you, I must give the thumbs up to those who organize, yes, the Henry Cup. Cause I'm telling you, I must say, Lord, forgive. I find that it's such a good initiative. Cause if anybody knew him and they speak the truth, they know that Henry Charles was all about the youth. He not here, I want you to support this very cause. For the late Henry, I want a round of applause. Give it up for Henry. La bam boom bam boom. One more verse to the youngsters participating. Let me see what I can put together here now. Scala lela bam bam boom. Lay down bam 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 bam. To all the young footballers participating, I want you to play with love and play with discipline. Yes, I hope all you hear and you listen to me. Don't give no trouble, don't interfere with the referee. Cause I tell you, we don't want no news that is sad. We don't want nobody getting a red card. So I want to let you know, every girl and boy, you must play the whole tournament with plenty joy. One more for Mrs. Charles. Scala lay my bum. Lay down bam bam la bam 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 bam. Lay la 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 la. Henry was born for that work from the time he born. But do not worry, his legacy will live on. Cause I want to tell you something, he was well impressed. All you know that Henry, he was of the best. So I'm telling you something, what I saying is true. We suffered your loss, yes, we suffered that with you. But I'm telling you something, without the worth, I tell you, he was one of the greatest on the earth. Big up, Henry. Make some noise for Henry Charles, people. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can do a better job than that. Me tell them our some. Nous sadi nous play pitala. Thank you very much, Mr. Hall. I know Henry is tapping his feet and saying, yeah, man, one love. Right now, we're going to continue with our video presentations. And it's my pleasure to introduce a video message from a stalwart herself in youth development, Ms. Dwinette Eversley, one of Henry's colleagues in the CYP Caribbean Center.
Hello everyone, my name is Dwinette Eversley. I am pleased to be associated with this Henry Charles Cup that the Commonwealth is using to commemorate his legacy and his work for youth in the Commonwealth. I myself have been in international development for about 40 years and privileged that among those 40 years, I spent the majority of that time working on youth policy, youth development, youth governance structures, youth entrepreneurship, and youth violence prevention in the most recent incarnation of youth work, or reiteration, I should say, of youth work, spending a lot of time now on supporting systems that protect and build resilience in young people who are the fringes of social development. It's a belief and work on social justice, which was one of Henry's really strong elements. He believed in justice for all, equality for all, and not only youth as a monolith, but youth with their particular diversities and interests. Henry, I met in 2005 when he joined the Commonwealth Youth Program Caribbean Center as the new regional director. He came to us knowing, of course, what we were doing, what changes, what work we were trying to do to influence regional youth development, an acceleration of youth policies, and program and monitoring and evaluation of impacts for programs for young people. Yes, he knew all of that. But he also wanted to know, when he came into our center, how we were doing as people. And so, very warm, very cordial. You can call me anything you want, he said, because we were snickering because his moniker at the time, his Gmail account, he was Lucian Charlo. He said, yes, all my friends call me Charlo. But I eventually ended up calling him Henry, and he became a strong friend all these years that I was pleased to have and pleased to be able to count on, as I hoped he was also able to count on me. And what made him stand apart from the others was his very pragmatic dedication, but he was also a dreamer and a philosopher. Anybody who loved Calypso as much as Henry did must have been a philosopher. One of his favorite Calypsos, Valentino's Life is a Stage, and all of us who know Valentino know that Calypso is patterned after Shakespeare's Life is a Stage. Everybody has a part to play. And Henry played so many parts. He wanted to change a lot of the narrative about youth development from isolated events and programs. And this was indeed the Commonwealth's focus. But he felt he had to change from a combined approach, working, of course, with the wonderful directors of youth that we had in the Commonwealth Caribbean, the youth networks, the youth councils, where they existed, but the ministers themselves, not waiting on the 6-year interval of Commonwealth Youth Ministers meeting to make it clear that we needed investments and consistent focus with planning departments and finance departments and ministries of labor, etc., to consider the mainstreaming impacts of youth development. And I think this was a lot of his work and a lot of his legacy, how he was able to bring a focus on youth from a youth ministry idea to an ecosystem idea. Henry was, as we all know, a vibrant academician also. And when you think of his love of calypso and his love of philosophy, and of course his way of laughing at things that didn't go right when we wanted them to go right, he also was firmly a believer. I don't know if I should say believer, but he admitted internally that we lived in absurd times. When you are passionate about the pace of development and things don't go as you want, when you want them to be, you have to sit back and say, yes, we are living in the theater of the absurd. But nothing of that knowledge prevented him from continuing to go into all the spheres and spaces that he needed to go into to make a difference and to keep those networks together. That is the genius of Henry Charles, that legacy of joining and knitting in some more and making the network larger, the pattern more intricate, but always apt for the circumstance. And that is why I'm pleased to join in this initiative and to congratulate the organizers and to do my own part in continuing to knit together the fabric of strong youth development for the Commonwealth and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Eversley. You highlighted an important factor that I'm sure most of us would have realized by now, and that Henry built a very extensive community because he did work widely throughout the Caribbean and the Commonwealth. And it's so fitting that our last video message would come from Suzette Moses Burton, community mobilizer at UNICEF Netherlands, where Dr. Charles also made an impact.
On October 12th, the world will witness the launch of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup, a new global sporting event designed to empower young footballers across the Commonwealth. This is more than just a tournament. It is a fitting tribute to the life and legacy of Dr. Henry Charles, a man whose passion for youth development and love for football knew no bounds. Henry believed that sports, especially football, was a powerful tool to uplift and empower young people. His vision was clear: to give youth the skills and opportunities they needed to succeed, not just on the field, but in life. Throughout his career, whether as the director of the Commonwealth Youth Program or through his work in youth empowerment globally, he understood that sport is not just about competition, it's about opportunity. The Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup embodies this vision by creating a global platform for youth athletes to dream big, to showcase their talents, learn the values of discipline, teamwork, and leadership, and to connect with peers across the globe. This tournament also reflects Henry's commitment to inclusivity. By engaging youth from diverse cultures and backgrounds, it fosters understanding and unity across nations, something Henry passionately advocated for. Through initiatives like this, young footballers are not just playing a game. They are becoming part of a global movement, one that builds leadership, character, and community. As we honor Dr. Charles through this event, we ensure that his dedication to youth empowerment continues to inspire future generations. The Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup is more than a sporting event. It is a living tribute to a man who believed in the boundless potential of young people.
We thank Ms. Suzette Moses Burton, and as she rightfully said, it's more than a sporting event, that we are embarking on grassroots football, because when you impact the grassroots, you impact the entire community. And what we are aiming to do is transform the lives of young people. And one young person who benefited tremendously from football shaping her life, who is now shaping the life of other young people, both in academia and in coaching, is our keynote speaker, Dr. Keva Joseph. Can we put our hands together for her so she can speak to us from the heart about why this moment matters and how football truly can transform the lives of a young person for the better. Round of applause for her again.
Thank you very much, Riza. I'd like to adopt the protocol already established by saying a wonderful good morning to everyone. So I'd also like, before I start, to give a little speech to say thank you to Dr. Jameson Charles. We've known each other for a long time, and it's fitting that coming back from the journey that having a football scholarship has brought me on, she's here to actually enjoy, my success. So many of you are the youths that sit down in the stadium. You think what football can do for you. Okay, so first let me tell you who am I. My name is Keva Joseph, and like you, I started playing football at 11 years old. Okay, and for me, that was a passion. That was something I loved. I played every single day. My mom, who was a vendor, she had 5 of us, a single parent. And every day that she used to go to town to sell, she had to come and meet me on the court to ask me to come home, because I used to be here day and night. And the summers were the best. So I went to Beausejour Primary School, and during that time, I think we had just started playing football in the primary schools. But here's the thing, they only had male teams. So did that stop me? Not at all. I played among the boys on that team. And the story is really to just explain to you that the sky is more than the limit, okay? If you want something in life, there shouldn't be any barriers. And if there are, the only barriers are within your mind. So during this time, I played. My school encouraged me. I passed for entry post-secondary school, and again, inter school, no female team. That did not stop me. So I still played for the team, was still recognized. So many of you want to know, well, where did I play? I'm a striker. Very fast. And I scored a lot of goals as much as I missed a lot of goals. But here's the thing, I never stopped. So, during this time, I think about 11 years old, Sarah Flood at the time had just launched the female football in Saint Lucia. And the CDC, the Castro CDC court, was a favorite spot for soccer. So we came in, I saw this game playing. My mom sent me to buy some drinks for her to sell, right? And I'm actually just stopping, forgot about the drinks, and I went to watch the football game. And that was it, because I joined the team. Did not ask for permission, but I joined the team. First game I played, I scored 2 goals. We won that game, and we won that championship. And little do you know, what I'm saying is that you don't think that football will take you very far. And I was not thinking still. I loved the game. I played it. It took me away from trouble. It got me an opportunity to be a part of a team. And a lot of people do not embrace the idea of team, but it really is a community to stabilize you, when you are in doubt, to hold you down, when you are thriving, to push you and to motivate you to do the best that you can. So, in 2006, I got a scholarship from Essex County College in New Jersey, America. Now, I want you to understand that this was an amazing time for me. But what I really want you to take from that, it's about communication, teamwork, and the idea that, you know, you have people supporting you. So there was a young lady who went before me. She knows my talent, and she linked me with the club at the school in New Jersey. And so that became my life. I spent 5 years in America, never went back home, and obtained a bachelor's degree in pre-med. I want you to understand, and I'm speaking to the boys and the girls. I mean, you are coming to school, we don't know your challenges. We don't know what it takes for you to go home, to be, either you have no electricity, you don't have a proper functional family. But let me tell you, this is your moment. You have to make your life, your choices. And that's what it did for me. You do not allow your situations. You know, there's this song that I know everyone sings, circumstances make me who I am. No, it gives you options. Because you are there, you are feeling the heat, and you are becoming innovative and creative. So I saw football as an opportunity for me to get out of what I considered at this time as poverty. And I used that. I said at 11, you know what? I want to be a doctor. I am pretty sure if I push my way, I can be a professional player, but my passion was medicine. I want you to understand that. Not because you are playing football and you want to become an accountant, that it's not possible. I want you to understand that this is your money. This is what you use to push your way through this society and this country and this world. Because you were not born with what other privileged people across the world are born with, but you are born with innovation, creativity, and the will to fight for what you want. So I came back with my bachelor's degree, still desiring to be educated and to achieve my goal. And here's what I did. I spent some time with Dr. Stephen King, doing some postmortems, young girl, cutting all the dead bodies, you know, going through the process. But that never stopped me because I felt, you know what, I got the opportunity, and I know there are people like me. And that someone did help me, so my goal was to help others. So in 2012, I registered my academy called Total Soccer Academy, and I went to the very best school that I needed to, which was Entrepot. And I fostered my academy here. Now, you wouldn't know that, you know, after this, 2 years later, I'm getting another scholarship from Taiwan. So that's where I obtained my medical degree. I spent 6 years. And I also achieved a master's in tropical medicine. What I want to tell you, especially the boys and girls, you may not see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you watch in front of you, everything becomes possible. Just keep your head. There are going to be distractions, but you have to understand that you are on your road, and you need to stay on your road and do what it takes to get to that end of the road, by any means necessary. So I'm here today, and I'm happy because we have now a new initiative within the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup to change lives. I mean, looking at grassroots group, and I know for a fact that it's going to change many lives. And you may sit here today and you may want what you want inside. But because of what you desire inside, it resonates. And that's why today you are part of the team. That's why you are here, to witness something happening that is great. Okay, so I would like to thank you for showing up, for being present, and to start the new journey of your beautiful future.
That was an excellent, heartfelt, it was righteous, right? Round of applause for Dr. Keva Joseph for really being the heart and soul of what this program is about. And I hope the students listened about being hungry, having commitment, staying on your own road, football is an opportunity for so much more, and it can be if you believe it is and you work towards it. And Dr. Keva is an example. A round of applause for her again. To address us briefly, not just to provide an endorsement from the government of Saint Lucia, but also the role of Dr. Charles in shaping national leaders through the youth movement and otherwise in his struggles for the rights of workers within the labor movement. It's my pleasure to welcome the Deputy Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, the Honorable Ernest Tilley.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremony. Let me recognize my colleague minister, the Minister for Youth and Sports and Parliamentary Representative for Gros Islet, other distinguished invitees, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and of course, Mrs. Charles, and the young persons that are here today. Before I formally announce the government's endorsement of this initiative, it's an ideal opportunity for me to share. Oh, and I forgot to say, Governor General Emeritus, I was wondering who is that person in so much elegance sitting in front of me. I didn't even recognize it was you. And it's an opportunity for me, Mrs. Charles, to share my own thoughts and experiences with Henry Charles. I've heard a lot said about Henry Charles, and a lot of it is about the professional that he became and how he impacts so many persons in different parts of the world. I happen to have known Henry Charles a lot earlier than that and a lot less about his later life. I think I first got to know him, in fact, when I got to know him, my mother was calling him Wallace. I mean, he was partner of my first cousin, and of course, Stephen, his son, is also my cousin. Came out of that relationship. So I knew him. He didn't look like he did in latter days with his afro. He had a different hairstyle, in those days. But there were some leaders, youth leaders, and Henry was part of that group that changed my life, really. And in 1984, I happened to have been at the A-level college, and guess who was the principal then? None other than Dame Paulette Louise. And she will tell you about those days, because in 1984, going into 85, which was International Year of the Youth, it was a time of international focus on young people and where young people was heading. If you believe we talk about problems with young people now, it did not start now. It was as far back as then. And a group of us ended at the A-level college, and I can tell you we were not the best behaved, and Dame Paulette is laughing. But we were all, in a sense, the typical young persons of the time. We came from secondary school, we were at the A-level college, but a little directionless. And I must say to you, Dame Paulette was really, really powerful in supporting our initiatives, our activities. And I came from, Hospital Road, we have a certain approach to life. And we met persons like Mario Michel and Henry Charles and Lilia Ogis and Peter Frivy and Dominic, a number of persons who, as student leaders, took us and guided us in a particular direction. And when the National Youth Council was being formed in 1985, Henry Charles was attending together with Jati, a very noted, lyricist in Saint Lucia, who wrote some of the best calypsos we've ever heard. And they wanted a student on the national executive of the National Youth Council. By then, I was president of the National Student Body. And they said they wanted me to be the person who would be on the national executive of the Youth Council. And then I am a little 17-year-old. The last thing I want to think about is National Youth Council. I got scared, actually. And they nominated me to be on the first executive of the National Youth Council. And I think my whole life changed after that. And I got to start understanding responsibility. And a person like Henry Charles, both ideologically and organizationally, really provided mentorship for us. And, the rest is history. You know, my whole outlook on life, my ideological and philosophical groundings came from persons like Henry Charles and understanding organizations and popular mobilization. Henry Charles has always been involved in youth activities. When Labour Party won in '79 and they had a national youth camp established in Beausejour, Vieux-Fort, he was a councillor there. When we were forming the National Youth Council, he was a councillor at the Boys Training Center, and that's how I knew him as well as a councillor at that institution. A lot of what we learned. Henry Charles was always an internationalist. And when you speak about the Commonwealth Cup and his impact all over the world, we were bringing on an annual basis persons from the African National Youth Congress Youth Organization to come to Saint Lucia to speak and to visit other islands. We celebrated African Liberation Day in May every year, Soweto Day, June 16th every year, International Students Day, November 17th every year. Henry was always in the forefront of that. He had that internationalism about him. We formed the Caribbean Federation of Youth, a grouping of all national youth councils, and he served on the first executive. Again, he had that internationalism about him. So when you are establishing a Commonwealth Cup in his honor, there's no better tribute you can give to Henry, who believed in what we call at that time international solidarity. We, persons of the common mission and purpose, must work together to advance our causes. So Henry was a giant, literally, and also in terms of the work that he did in nurturing a lot of us. There was an entire leadership of young persons in this country. Henry Mangal, deceased Wayne Louis, Armstrong Alexis, who was president of the Diocesan Youth Council. He was a real church boy in those days, you know. And all of that, Henry Charles, again, was part of nurturing us and shaping us. So, you know, Henry deserves all that he can get. When we established this first step short-term employment program, I was the chairman, he was the first general manager of it, and it evolved into the NCA, what is NCA now. Again, Henry Charles. But importantly, because this is a sporting event, when persons like Henry was talking about development and peace through sports, it was not even in vogue in other parts of the world. We felt in Saint Lucia and through the NYC that we can promote youth development through sports. And even persons like myself got very involved in sports because of that thinking, that through sports, we can promote young people and give them greater opportunities than ever before. We had that belief. Why? Because we felt that sport was a natural activity of the youth. Sports and culture. So a person like Henry Charles, I remember bringing me to my first Calypso tent at the Town Hall, himself with Mario Michel, listening to Ashanti sing. In those days, Ashanti was not even called Ashanti. Because we had that belief as youth leaders, he had that belief. And in latter years, we promoted sports as a vibrant and a very significant tool for national development. So I'm really pleased that this tournament is being done in his honor. One, because it's an international tournament, and secondly, it's a recognition of sports as a very significant tool to promote youth development. So you can imagine that the government has absolutely no hesitation in endorsing this tournament and expressing its support, and anything that you would need to make sure it is successful, that we will be there to provide that support. So thank you very much, and do accept our endorsement.
We thank the Deputy Prime Minister for that endorsement, sharing, and the support of the government of Saint Lucia that this will be a sustained program for national and youth development. Do we have any soccer moms in the house? Make some noise. Soccer dads. You can clap for the soccer dads too. And the reason I'm highlighting the parents, because parents play such an important role in the development and the lives of children. And for Dr. Charles, we've mentioned all his roles in his capacity of work, but he also took the vocation of fatherhood very seriously with his son, Stephen Hilaire, his daughter, Fleur Maffre, and Henrietta Flavier, who he loved tremendously. And as we close the formal part of our ceremony to launch the Henry Charles Foundation Cup, and we continue thereafter with our competition with our teams, it's only fitting that his son, Stephen, deliver the vote of thanks to thank you, those of you who are here with us in person, those joining virtually in Saint Lucia, in the UK, in Zambia, in Trinidad and Tobago, in the Netherlands and beyond, to thank you. So please welcome Stephen Hilaire.
Good morning, everybody. Please allow me to adopt the protocol that's already been established. Okay, distinguished visitors, sponsors, the local organizing team, the UK team, especially Penelope Walsh, Robin Lockhart, Jeff and Alex from the Bromley FC, the government of Saint Lucia, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Deputy Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, Minister of Sports and his ministry, GMC United, Moshi United, the Tourism Authority, the Saint Lucia Football Association, Heineken Saint Lucia, many members of the media, lastly the MC, and everyone who have joined us here today. Your constant support demonstrates not only your commitment to athletic development, but also the preserving Dr. Henry Charles's legacy. We appreciate your belief in this endeavor and look forward to forming a long-term cooperation to the supporters, both individuals and organizations. Your encouragement and effort have powered this initiative from the outset. Your belief in the Commonwealth Memorial Cup's goal has been inspiring, and we appreciate your support every step of the way. Thank you to our media partners for your ongoing coverage and assistance in spreading the word about his momentous occasion. Your efforts are vital in preserving Dr. Charles's memory and achievements. The future generations, finally, we want to offer our heartfelt appreciation to everyone here today. Your participation is critical to the initiative's success. Thank you from his widow, Dr. Marjorie Charles, my sisters, Fleur Maffre, Henrietta Flavian, and myself. Thank you.
And thank you, Stephen, for that vote of thanks. It would be remiss of me not to mention the hardworking technical team that made this live stream possible so that the globe could join us today. So we want to thank the Caribs Web team, and let's put our hands together for this live stream that has been done so expertly. And in only Henry Charles One Love style, we have a beautiful declaration from the people of Zambia who are collaborating with us on the launch of the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup to declare it formally open. We now go to Zambia.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is your guy, Chris Chikwande, project coordinator from Tako, Zambia. And I'm here to introduce the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup. Zambia to the world. So we all know that football brings together a massive number of grassroots people. And it's because of the love that they have for football. We know that football is the language that everyone understands all over the world. So because of that, football is the tool that we found easy to use in terms of reaching out in when we want to bring peace to the people, mental health, physical as well as sexual reproductive healthy rights. Zambia to the world.
I love that, Zambia to the world. So we have to say Saint Lucia to the world. And when I not Saint Lucia to the world. All right. So we have formally declared the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup open. This is a process. And again, we say it's more than just football, but building the young people behind us, our communities, and Saint Lucia. And we want to just thank all those persons who made this opportunity possible. We want to thank the Prime Minister of Saint Lucia and his team, his representatives. And we want to invite at this moment Dr. Marjorie Jameson Charles to come to make their declaration, and the Deputy Prime Minister, on behalf of Prime Minister Ernest Hilaire, to formally declare the proceedings open. From the Saint Lucia leg, yes.
Good morning, everyone. Allow us to adopt protocol that is already established. We want to thank everyone for being here this morning to launch the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup, the HCCC movement, we call it. We are looking forward to the support of all of St. Lucia next year when we start all the grassroots celebrations and the grassroots marches. And we're looking forward to having the final Henry Charles Trophy from all over, for the winners of all over the Commonwealth in St. Lucia. I'm hoping that the government will assist us. So we're looking at sometime next year, October, November, for us to have the final, the first ever Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup held in St. Lucia, the finals. So, so St. Lucia to the world. Okay, so we declare.
We declare
the Henry Charles Commonwealth Cup open.
St. Lucia to the world. Hey.
St. Lucia to the world, and one love still to everyone, as Henry would say. Zongmo me.
Tigmo me zong tig stilla.
All right, merci appeal. Thank you so much for viewing our live broadcast, and we look forward to your continued support. For those of you who want to find out more, you can send an email at thehenrycharlescup@gmail.com.